Howdy. The security situation has changed. Finland is significantly increasing its grain reserve stocks. The EU's grain stocks may shrink by almost 20% during the years of 2022 and 2023. If there was not enough grain available on the free market, domestic demand could be supplemented by unloading emergency stocks, says Huoltovarmuuskeskus. I don't know why this didn't get translated into Finnish, but no, English actually. The state's grain security reserves are being increased. What is this Huoltovarmuuskeskus in English? It's some security, whatever, government thing, you know. The goal is to acquire oats, wheat and barley produced in Finland and suitable for food use. The total amount purchased corresponds to approximately 2.5 months of average food consumption. Current emergency stocks meet 6 months' needs. After the acquisition, the stocks are enough for 8.5 months of normal consumption. Which means it lasts a bit longer if you tighten your belt a bit, you know? In other words, increase the price. The measure strengthens society's preparedness for disturbances in the changed security situation, which can be estimated to continue to be challenging for several years. It's not an acute grain shortage, HVK says. After the gap of year 2021 in June of this year, Finland's normal commercial grain stocks were at their lowest level in more than 10 years. The background was the grain harvest, which was smaller than the previous year's consumption, and the strong export of grain. This growing season, the harvest was good, and there is enough grain for backup storage as well, says Jaakko Pekki, head of HVK's operational department. Turbulence in the grain market. The already sensitive international grain market has been shaken by Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine. Demand has grown in grain export countries, and exports in Finland are also predicted to remain strong. The European Commission has estimated that the EU's grain stocks may shrink by almost 20% during the years of 22 and 23. A fifth. But that's just an estimate. It could be bigger, you know. HVK is responsible for maintaining the state security stocks, and the government decides on the use of the stocks, because they know better than you. That's their job. If there was not enough grain available on the free market, domestic demand could be supplemented by unloading emergency stocks. Yeah, what a plan. In the spring of 22, 8,500 tons of sowing wheats and spring cereals, i.e. barley, oats and spring wheat, were released to the market from the emergency stocks. They tapped into those already. At the time, there was a shortage of sowing wheat in Finland due to the weak harvest of the previous year. The situation was partly due to the exceptional weather. With the introduction of emergency stocks and sufficient supply of seeds and spring sowings were secured in the spring. The introduction of safety stocks had a significant impact on barley cultivation in particular. Join the discussion. Yeah. So let me throw in this one. Tonga's eruption ejected so much water into Earth's atmosphere that it could weaken the ozone layer. The atmospheric water vapor could also contribute to global warming. Really, first time ever, you know. All of a sudden, it should be the opposite. The Tonga eruption. It started with a boom. It's the biggest eruption ever recorded. It sent shock waves around the planet Earth. probably in many, many ways, not only atmospherical shock waves. And I just grabbed the very first Tonga article I came across. The thing is, Earth's magnetosphere is weakening. Its magnetic shield is weakening. There's more cosmic rays and such coming in. We had these pink aurora occurrences in Norway like the last few days, 2 times in a row, even though there wasn't any solar storm or whatsoever really going on. We had the La Palma eruption, which was at least the biggest eruption in 500 years on La Palma. There is still something going on, not only on the island La Palma, but in the neighboring islands and in the neighboring or in the seas between as well. All the time there's quakes, so we might expect them to increase because of a similar reason. Earth's weakening magnetosphere. Now NASA has also confirmed the dust in our solar system. Yeah, maybe I have to show that as well, for those who didn't knew about that. But still 2 volcanoes. There's like many active volcanoes. There has been this one, was it in Madagascar? Somewhere. Which hasn't been erupting for 2,000 years and all of a sudden it erupted. Which brings us ultimately to the Vagrarsfjall, sorry for butchering this word, Vagrarsfjall in Iceland, which hasn't been erupting for 6,000 years. How funny, it really matches the sun cycles, half cycles, quarter harmonics and such. The last 400 years have been very kind to humanity. Life thrived. We are now more than ever. There's more people on Earth than ever before, I guess. I might be wrong, but there's a big bunch of humans out there. A human recognizes another human. So this should be it. If you recognize someone as a human, treat it as a human. Or him. Or she. So we're all in this together. It doesn't really matter where you live. What's your social status? If you know about certain things like sun cycles or let's say mythological interpretations, you probably also know that you are so far ahead of 99% of all others. You don't have to need to know like everything. No one knows everything. I am not claiming knowing everything. One thing I know for sure is that I have to learn still so much about so many things, about everything. So it's also an attitude about learning, which implies to some degree thinking. It should be an attitude and not something you just do, now I have to. Now I have to think about this. Or I really have to learn this. This process should be driven mainly by curiosity. Because it's something very profound. It isn't loaded with any emotions. It doesn't carry preoccupations. If you are curious, you will be on the right track. If you wear glasses in order to make sense of your perceived reality through whatever lenses, is it some scientific paradigm you try to somehow align with, or even to defend? Is it some kind of religious thing which you are feeling being a part of it, and you are representing this by doing and talking and, providing information about the thing? If you are curious enough, you will at one point understand that it doesn't really help you to use lenses in order to perceive the reality. Just watch at it. Open-minded, like a kid watches the tree. So the thing is, Finland stocked up their grain storage for emergency cases in a way. It's bigger than it has been before. This might indicate they are probably knowing something's going on. They probably also know that since, for example, here in Finland, we are going into winter. We are actually into winter. There's like snowstorm going on for a second day or something. So it seems to be really wintry here. And on the other side, on the southern side, there should be summer. They should go into the summer as much as we are going into winter. We are still in the transition phase between summer and winter, or winter and summer. But still, more flooding in Australia's soggy southeast. After an extremely wet October, storms in November 2022 have added to the ongoing flooding across New South Wales and Victoria. Does this work? Yeah, it works. Check it out. What are we looking at? November 18, June 2028. Yeah. Seems to be much more water. There's a lake and stuff. Many lakes. Big rivers emerging. Maybe again. After an extremely wet October, Southeast Australia continued to see heavy rainfall in November 2022. With soils already saturated and dams full, the latest storms have added to ongoing flooding across New South Wales and Victoria. Widespread flooding is visible in this false color image acquired on November 18, and with the moderate resolution imaging spectroradiometer and NASA's Terra satellite. What appears light to dark blue vegetation is green and bare land is brown. For comparison, the MODIS image from the Aqua satellite left shows the same area on June 28 prior to the excessive rainfall. In the week leading up to November 14, large parts of New South Wales and Victoria saw more than 50 milliliters of rain. The town of Forbes, New South Wales, had the highest daily total for the week. It's a 118 millimeters fall in a 24-hour period spanning November 13 to 14th. The abundant rain across the region caused rivers to rise and flood nearby towns. Forbes saw in its third major flood event in just 4 weeks, as waters on the Lachlan River rose faster than expected. On October 2022 was the wettest October on record in the Murray-Darling Basin, an area that includes the permanent and impermanent rivers and streams pictured below. With soils already saturated, rainfall in November quickly led to flash flooding across New South Wales and Victoria. Emergency responders have rescued hundreds of people stranded by floodwaters across the region. So now, I think many of those people who got rescued, they are probably supposed to be growing crops on their fields. And obviously, all the fields got flooded. So there's nothing growing there. And also the weather is rather cold. They are just basically talking about the weather here. One reason for the wetness is likely La Nina, which has returned for 3 consecutive years. La Nina events can influence weather in different ways across the planet. Now, I thought La Nina is a weather event. Well, anyway, in Australia, it usually means heavy rainfall and flooding. They don't talk a single word about the Tonga eruption, despite the Tonga eruption might have happened somewhere here. You know, we don't have any New Zealand here on the map, but it's not far. These kind of big eruptions very much affect weather patterns, rainfall, and all these kind of things. On top of the changes which are going on through Earth's weakening magnetosphere. Now I remembered, I almost forgot. Not only do volcanic eruptions eject dust and stuff into the atmosphere, and since that's not a very good thing, mainly for us humans, because we are very sensitive to changes in our environment. There is also dust in our solar system. And people like Ben Davidson have been talking about this, the dust cloud coming, the galactic current sheet, which will affect the activity of the sun and therefore the activity on Earth. 8th of December, which is 5 days old. Today is obviously the 13th. Hubble detects ghostly glow surrounding our solar system. Aside from tapestry of glittering stars and the glow of the waxing and waning moon, the nighttime sky looks inky black to the casual observer. But how dark is dark? Yeah, that's actually the second NASA link I showed today. Well, anyway. To find out, astronomers decided to sort through 200,000 images from NASA's Hubble Space Telescope and made tens of thousands of measurements on these images to look for any residual background glow in the sky in an ambitious project called SkySurf. This would be any leftover light after subtracting the glow from the planets, stars, galaxies, and from dust in the plane of our solar system called the zodiacal light. When researchers completed this inventory, they found an exceedingly tiny excess of light, equivalent to the steady glow of 10 fireflies spread across the entire sky. That's like turning out all the lights in a shuttered room and still finding an eerie glow coming from the walls, ceiling, and the floor. Comet dust around our solar system. They say it's cometary dust, which might be wrong. And the funny thing is also, even think about that, comet dust cloud around our solar system, and according to them, or to many of NASA people or those other people's, like, comets are just icy snowballs which evaporate. There's just water, there's nothing there, but now it's all of a sudden there should be dust. The researchers say that one possible explanation for this residual glow is that our inner solar system contains a tenuous sphere of dust from comets that are falling into the solar system from all directions, and that the glow is the sunlight reflecting off this dust. If real, this dust shell could be a new addition to the known architecture of the solar system. This idea is bolstered by the fact that in 2021, another team of astronomers used data from NASA's New Horizons spacecraft to also measure the sky background. New Horizons flew by Pluto in 2015 and a small Kuiper Belt object in 2018 and is now heading into interstellar space. Too much coffee. The New Horizons measurements were done at a distance of 4 billion to 5 billion miles from the Sun. This is well outside the realm of the planets and asteroids, where there is no contamination from interplanetary dust. New Horizons detected something a bit fainter that is apparently from a more distant source than Hubble detected. The source of the background light seen by New Horizons also remains unexplained. There are numerous theories ranging from the decay of dark matter. Dark matter, something which doesn't exist, creates dust. Really? Come on. To a huge unseen population of remote galaxies. If our analysis is correct, there is another dust component between us and the distance where New Horizons made measurements. That means that this is some kind of extra light coming from inside our solar system. Because our measurement of residual light is higher than New Horizons, we think it is a local phenomenon that is not from far outside the solar system. It may be a new element to the contents of the solar system that has been hypothesized, but not quantitatively measured until now. Maybe it just hasn't been there yet. You know. It's the arrival of the dust which makes the sun exciting and finally go boom. Dust explosions are very dangerous. There might be similar events happening on Earth too. We had was it in Beirut, this huge blast? There was also some grain involved, I think, in that explosion. If you have a grain facility exploding or fire, if there's very fine dust, it just goes boom, you know. It's very dangerous. So our sun is very hot, and if you blow a huge pile of dust onto it, it might react to the dust. The dust itself will react. But anyway, you can read the rest. I don't know how long this is continuing still. But yeah. We have 8.5 months grain here in Finland at the moment. Maybe 10 months if we tighten our belts at one point. Which might be not the decisions of the people themselves. It might get decided from someone else. But we will see. Let's enjoy the age of internet to its fullest. Get prepared for time after internet. Get prepared for time after electricity. If you want something to read, get some books, print stuff you find on the internet. Buy instruments which work without electricity if you want to make some music. Or then you just have to build your own. In order to build your own instrument, you need tools. Get tools which don't need electricity. Tools to work on wood, for, like, you know, just old school tools. And you can find them on flea markets, for example. There's every now and then very nice things to find on flea markets, such as very old quality old school tools for whatever gardening purposes or woodwork or you know. They might be one of the most important. Grow your own food, get some seeds now still, and just get the seeds. Or if you go to the shop and buy paprika or whatever stuff and there's seeds inside, store them. You know you can grow basically many apple trees out of one apple you buy in the shop. So that's just something to think about. But anyway, stay safe, stay focused, stay positive, stay real. And keep your shit together. That's maybe the most important thing for each individual to do. Imagine if it would be something everyone could do. What kind of world it would be today? But anyway, thanks. Bye.